Hey there, YouTube. Welcome back. One of the fun things to do over the winter is make sausage. Why we do it over the winter is because we like dried sausage. So we can show you what that entails and how that turns out here in a little bit. It usually takes about a month to age and dry out. And it's just a fermented sausage. Very good. So what we'll start with here, I've already ground up pork belly, about 10 pounds of pork belly and 20 pounds of pork shoulder. You can use any type of pork product. I like to keep the sausage fat content somewhere around 20 to 15%. You can make it leaner if you want, but it seems to be ideal about 15 to 20% fat. So what we'll do, we've already started just cutting up the pork in strips, and I'll be very careful not to cut my fingers off or even just cut them at all. But this meat is just a little bit frozen, which makes it easier to cut. So cut down through and then just simply cut into strips. Now I'll season this with a blend of about 10 to 12 spices, including salt, pepper, paprika, several. You can look up several different recipes. Thank you.
We need prompting cards.
That one needs to be just cut completely out. Anyway,
no, this makes it real.
The recipes are endless. What I suggest, what I did is make a little batch, grind it up, put your spices in it, and then fry it. See how you like it. Actually taste it before you go ahead and put it in casings and dry it. Last year we did a batch, we used red wine, and it made the sausage just have a little bit of an off taste that we didn't prefer. It was okay, it dried really, really good, but the fresh sausage, when we added it to sauce or just fried it up, it wasn't our favorite. So anyways, it might be yours. So if you love putting red wine with yours, then great. But I do suggest just frying up a little bit. That way you can get a feel for what that's going to taste like. So I'm going to cut this all back up and then we'll run it through the grinder. All right, got this pork shoulder cut up into strips, just small enough to get down the grinder. And I've made my herb concoction yesterday, kind of turned into a little bit of a paste. So what I'm going to do, instead of sprinkling it, I'm just going to massage it into the meat. I'll do that before I grind it, just to get the flavors more uniform. And then after we grind, we'll mix the grind as well. Just want to make mention one thing, which is kind of a no-brainer. Don't use any manager specials or any questionable pork as far as for sausage. You want something as fresh as possible. We bought something from one of the local stores that had just been put out that day, and then we froze it so that it would be firm enough to cut. But you definitely want to use fresh meat. Try to minimize any exposure to bacteria, so be very hygienic. Wash your hands, wash your area that you're working in, so that you have to have the sausage for the air-dried sausage to ferment a little bit, but you want the natural bacteria that's there, not anything that you might introduce. So I'm just going to mix this in. Once I get it as uniform as possible, I'll start grinding. All right, so the pork is sliced up and seasoned. And and we're going to just run it through the grinder. This is just a simple KitchenAid mixer with an attachment. It works really well for large sausage batches. You may want a larger type of grinder, but we're just doing 30 pounds, which sounds like a lot of sausage, but honestly, it goes pretty quick. And if you're going to be taking the time to case them and get all the equipment out, you might as well do enough that you can dry some like we're going to, and then put up in the freezer maybe 10 or 20 pounds. So this is going to be a little noisy, not very exciting. I found with this one, the highest speed possible is best. With grinding, the other reason why it's smart to go ahead and freeze or at least chill your pork before you grind is because this generates just a little bit of heat in the grinding, and you don't want your the temperature of the meat to rise much more than, you know, the temperature that you're going to have it at before you want to case it. So cold is good. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and get started. It is easy as feeding this, and you will have to use a plunger every once in a while just to force the meat through the chute, but it's as easy as this. That's a special trick that I do every once in a while.
Technique.
Just to test my reflexes. Called the pork drop. All right, thank you for watching. All right, so it's time to put the sausage in the casing. This is a stuffer. It's just gear driven, pushes the plunger down in through the opening here. And I have about 20 feet of casings just rolled onto this. Super simple. I'll just show you how you can do this. A little tip is air will tend to gather at the end, so every once in a while just put a little tiny perforation in the casing, not a large perforation, or else you'll have the sausage tear through, but just a small hole. And it is as easy as this.
Do you just make a big coil, or do you cut them and tie them off?
You can twist them to put them in their individual segments, or you can tie them off. Up to you. Once you get to the end of your casing, most of the casings are about 3 foot long. These are natural casings, so this is hog casings. But you can simply twist and bust the casing like that. Don't do that. Here, let me show you this one a little bit better. You can twist like that, or you can tie them individually. But then just bring out your next casing, tie it, and then repeat. Easy as that.
You do that at the very beginning? Poke a hole in it?
You'll be able to tell if you've got air in the casing, if you need to perforate that casing a little bit, or if it's okay. You can see this is doing just fine. That's a little excessive amount of air. So what I would do there is just put a small hole in it and then resume. That is a long casing. Wow.
There it is. It's the
Must have
end.
went the whole length of the hog.
How long are they usually when you get them? The casings, you said 3 feet?
Usually about
Each.
3 feet long. Usually not much longer than that, but that one's almost 5 feet, so that's a good size sausage.
Seeing sausage made always reminds me of Tom and Jerry for some reason when they had those episodes.
Yes, sausage makes me think of Tom and Jerry too.
Well, wouldn't they give the bulldog, sausage or something to distract him so they could get away?
Why wouldn't they just give him a bone?
Maybe they did. And I'm confusing.
All right, we're out of sausage. That's it.
Did you use everything?
No, just
Oh. So there's sausage in that pot?
this holds about, I think it's 7 pounds of sausage.
And show how there you go. Yeah. You just fill it up and then crank it and it comes out?
Just as easy as that.
Okay, so then you end up getting that. That's a lot of sausage. Anything to add in conclusion?
Just conclusion.
All right. Goodbye.